Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValle Building Supply. And it's the Tigers who are going to start the fourth quarter out with the ball, trailing this one by 15 points, as Stifler has another wild shot that comes up a little bit short. Richard Bell quick up the floor for the Cardinals. Gives it over to Sweet, and he gets that shot to fall. So a good start to the fourth quarter for the Cardinals. Richardson with it now for the Tigers. Tries to kick it back to Stifler, but a good defensive play by Parker Smith, although it's going to remain Newport ball. So Jeremy, we talked about it in the intro. Both of these teams coming in winless. Newport at 0-3, Stevens at 0-2. This Stevens team obviously only played 2 games, but looks like a better team than their 0-2 record shows. I mean, this does look like a team with potential to make things happen.
Yeah, they lost a couple of close games, and obviously this game, pretty indicative of what their season could be. Maybe not a perfect Newport, maybe not a perfect barometer. They do have Fall Mountain up next, Conant, Franklin, next few on deck, losing to Kearsarge and Hopkinton by a combined 5 points, was it?
Yeah.
So.
And that Fall Mountain team is a team that's struggling, but Conant, a perennial power. They've been in something like 6 of the last 8 championship games. That's going to be a fun one for the Cardinals. And their former coach of about 3 years, Coach Scott McNamee, is actually an assistant coach over at Conant now. So a little bit of a homecoming when those teams face off in a couple weeks. But
really what Stevens needs to do, I mean, obviously they have quite an inside game with O'Brien boys, and then Smith can go inside and he can shoot outside, as we've seen him do a number of times. So what they need to do is just protect the basketball and make their free throws.
As a nice move by Ty Richardson, off-balance layup gets it to fall. So I do got to say, knowing that both of these teams are young, I got to give Newport a lot of credit for really hanging in there, sticking with their game plan, focusing on execution, as you see Woods knock down that shot. Or excuse me, Stevens knocked down that shot, not Woods. But, give Newport a lot of credit for sticking to their game plan. Stifler came down a little hard on that, hobbling as he gets up, but it looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, the second half, they've really played them tight. It's been competitive. They've forced the Cardinals into some bad shots, some tough shots. They haven't given up the offensive rebounding. That was really what killed them in that first half. They were playing good defense, good perimeter defense, forcing Stevens to take some bad shots. But then they couldn't get the rebound. And when Stevens was getting the offensive rebounds, they just had too much height and could easily put it back in. They seem to have fixed that a little bit in the second half, where Cardinals are still getting some looks, but Tigers are crashing the boards and getting those rebounds instead.
Absolutely, and as we've teased all game, and we know that we have a couple of real solid candidates here, stay tuned near the end of our telecast with the HR Club Kearsarge Heating Oil turning up the heat player of the game. And I got to say, we started off with a lot of options, but there are 2 that really stick out in my head right now. One of them may or may not have the ball right now. As he gives it up to his brother, Nicholas O'Brien, puts up the 3, and he's making a case for himself. Multiple 3-pointers on the night for Nicholas O'Brien, as Ethan Hood knocks one down on the other end.
This young team, they have some skill, they have the talent. They just need to gain the experience, start playing together as a team. And I think this later in the season, you'll see this Newport team gel. They'll win some games. And then obviously next year, really only losing Stifler as their main contributor. But they have a great supporting cast.
Very true. Stifler's a big contributor. But again, some of these younger players, the Ty Richardsons, the Noah Woods, the Ethan Hoods, this is going to be a fun team to watch, just like Stevens in the next couple of years. Richard Bell with it now for the Cardinals. Kicks it back over to Zach O'Brien. O'Brien driving hard, finger roll. That's his second finger roll of the day, making that shot look easy. And it looks like Newport's going to take a timeout, so we'll take that timeout too from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValle Building Supply. where it's the Stevens Cardinals who lead this one 67-48 over their rival Newport Tigers. With about 4.5 to play as Noah Woods puts up a three-pointer, can't get it to fall, and once again, a Zach O'Brien rebound. Although O'Brien's going to be fouled. Yeah, it's going to go against Stifler.
And although Newport didn't get any points on that last possession, I really liked that possession. Stifler drove to the paint, to the hoop. He tried to put it up, so he was giving it an effort. It was designed to get to the hoop, but he couldn't get a shot off, so he kicked it back out to a wide-open Tiger.
Defensive play of the game right there, albeit in a losing effort at this point. Ty Richardson with a huge block. That's worth checking out again.
This team doesn't give up, that's for sure.
As Noah Spalding quick on the other end with a nice layup and foul. But give Ty Richardson a lot of credit. Listed at 5'8", not exactly the guy you'd pinpoint for this highlight reel block, but quite the block by Richardson. So kudos to him. And I'm not sure what's going on.
Some sort of injury, maybe.
Maybe blood on the uniform or something. Spalding had the pretty fantastic basket there and the foul, but looks like maybe a nosebleed or something, so they tend to him. We'll take a quick break from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, where we had a little bit of a delay here as Noah Spalding had the nice layup and foul, but unfortunately suffering a little bit of a bloody nose when he made contact with the floor. So they're going to have number 22, Ryan Knapsey, shoot the free throw on his behalf, and Knapsey, right on cue, knocks it down. So the Cardinals now leading Newport 70-48 with about 4 minutes to go as Ty Richardson puts up the long shot. Can't get it to fall, and that's going to be Cardinals ball.
Nice drive and kick out by Stifler, and we've seen that happen a couple possessions now where he's trying to spread the ball around and kick it out because the defense is really collapsing on him, and it's taken him 3/4 of the game, but like I said, that will come.
Another good bucket there by the Cardinals. Just a reminder to watch YCN News every weekday at 7 and 10 p.m. on YCN, your local view. You can also tune in to YCN's Outside Television on Comcast HD, channel 713 or channel 21 for all the outdoor adventures you love. As Stifler's going to go to the line for two here for the Tigers. Stifler knocks down the first.
Much better offensive showing here for the Tigers in the second half, as you mentioned, keeping it close the whole way the second half, keeping that deficit anywhere between 18 and 22 points, really. Actually, they had cut it down. I don't know if it was 16 or 13 points at one point. Not able to close it to single digits, but showed the life that this team will have.
Yeah, and if you're Coach Greg Pickering, you love seeing that from your young team. I mean, realistically, the goals for this year, 500 record would be great. Getting to the playoffs would all be things to build on. But when you're a first-year coach and you're seeing that kind of effort from your team, to fight back there and to keep things competitive in the second half, that's got to make you feel good as a first-year coach.
Yeah, and being this early in the season, as we mentioned, they'll learn how things go. So not only down the road and seasons after this one, next 2-3 seasons, they're going to grow. But in this season, I think you'll see one of this team as one of maybe the most improved teams from beginning to end in season.
Yep, I'm going to agree with that statement. I think there's a lot of potential here for both of these teams actually to really genuinely improve from where they stand at this point. So another foul on the Tigers, and that's going to be Richard Bell inbounding the ball under his own basket. Finds Nicholas O'Brien, who's a little long on the layup. Jesse Stifler comes up with the rebound. Nice bounce pass over to Ty Richardson and gives it back to Stifler. Stifler finds some space. And a nice move there. Number 42, Chris Perry, takes the pass from Stifler, creates a little room, and gets the layup.
Nice ball movement, moving it from one side of the court all the way to the other, and then Perry taking advantage. He had the step and brought it to the hole.
Nicholas O'Brien. I tell you, these O'Brien brothers right now. We mentioned their grandfather, Angelo Nestor, early in the broadcast. Holy cow, his grandsons are both putting on a show tonight. As Jesse Stifler gets that layup, a little reverse layup to fall. Nice move by him. things are starting to slow down a little bit. You can see both teams kind of milking these last 2.5 minutes. Although maybe just Stevens. I think, you can still see the pace for Newport here. Still pushing it. Ooh. Nicholas O'Brien hits the three-pointer on one end, comes up with a block on the other end. Man, these kids could play right now.
Little surprise attack there coming from behind.
And Zach O'Brien tries the floater, gets his own rebound like we've seen so many times tonight, and gets that put back to fall. So kudos to both of those kids as Jesse Stifler puts up a three. He knocks it down. And we're looking at a 21-point game if my math serves me correctly.
That it does.
Thank you, thank you. And with the 21-point lead, Stevens is going to take a timeout. So we'll take the timeout too from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by La Valley Building Supply. And Jeremy, with 1.5 minutes to go here, it seems like a perfect time to unveil our H.R. Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game.
Player of the game tonight for the Stevens Cardinals, number 14 junior Zachary O'Brien, chipping in with 15 points and 15 rebounds. So the second leading scorer for the team with 15 points, but a monster game on the boards, 15 rebounds.
And I think that's worth mentioning. I mean, typically this is an award that we give to, the big leading scorer in games past, but that effort that he had on the offensive glass particularly, really extended a lot of possessions for his team. And according to us, I mean, that he was truly the difference maker of this game.
Right, you had Parker Smith with 24 points so far in the game, and that will probably do it for him as he's not on the court anymore. But as you mentioned, the boards, crashing the boards offensively and towards the end of the game, continue to play hard defense, getting some defensive rebounds, and that contributes to his player of the game, 15 points, 15 rebounds.
So congratulations to Zachary O'Brien in being named tonight's H.R. Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. As Jesse Stifler heads to the line for two. Unfortunately, in a losing effort for Newport, but Stifler himself had quite a night too, especially of late. Knocking down a few three-pointers and a couple nice drives to the hoop. Potential old-fashioned three-point play here as he knocks down the free throw. So inside 1:20 to play here in the final quarter. Stevens on the verge of a 1-2 start to the year with what would be their first win of the season. Richard Bell thought about the shot, does take it. Stifler with the rebound. Little wild under the hoop, and that's going to be a jump ball. So you kind of talked about that earlier. Maybe a little wild at some points. Probably had an available passing lane to Hood over in the perimeter, but at this point in the game, I understand.
And he did show signs of that, as we mentioned, in the third quarter and early fourth quarter. He showed signs of slowing his game down a little bit, and getting the outlet pass and trying to drive and kick out if nothing was available. So I think that'll come, and this team get a few wins down the road, I'm sure.
A little bit of contact there, but, well, I was going to say no harm, no foul, but there was actually a foul. But anyway, no grudges being held, so all is well here at the Wheeler Gymnasium.
So after this game, Newport falling to Stevens. They will host Guilford later in the week and then travel to Hinsdale.
Hinsdale, a Division IV school, so that's not sure what Hinsdale's record is, but a winnable game when you think about the Division III Tigers going up against the Division IV Pacers, so potential there. And then after that game, the dreaded Conan.
And then Stevens will continue their road swing, going down to Fall Mountain. And then a week from tonight will be, as you mentioned, at Conant for their fourth straight road game.
So inside a minute to play, Stifler gives it up down low. That's Fish, number 20, a swing player, plays both JV and varsity for the Tigers. Crowd showing him some love as he gets some varsity minutes here in the fourth quarter. Hood, a little bit of a wild move, but a nice job by Stifler to keep the ball in bounds, and Hood there to capitalize and convert the layup. Cuts the deficit to 80-61 with 30 seconds remaining. And Nicholas O'Brien puts up the three, gets his own rebound, tries the behind-the-back pass. I suppose if there's ever a time to try that, it's when you're up 19 points.
I don't know if Coach is too impressed, but
I haven't seen Coach Berrettini smile at all today, so, you know, it's hard to see what nobody's thinking at this point. Fish puts up the shot, knocks it down, and the Newport student section loves that. So plenty of feel-good moments here for both teams. O'Brien gives it up to Richard Bell, back to O'Brien. Nice spin move under the basket, kisses it off the glass, can't get it to fall, and that's gonna do it here from the Wheeler Gymnasium, where it's the visiting Stevens Cardinals who come away with an 80-63 victory worth their first win of the season. So the Cardinals are gonna improve to 1-2 on the year, while Newport's gonna fall to 0-4. So stay tuned after the break when we bring you some post-game reaction here from the Wheeler Gymnasium for our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined by Zach O'Brien. After a big victory, your Cardinals win this one 80-63, 21 points and 15 some odd rebounds for you today. You know, talk about how big of a game this was for you guys, coming off an 0-2 start to the season to get this win over a big rival.
Well, it's a huge win for us. We just lost our first game by 3 and our second one by 4, and those really changed our momentum. So coming out to a rivalry game like this, we knew that we had to come out with a victory, and there was nothing but that.
And specifically in the early goings, the offensive boards that you in particular and your team as well were pulling down really made a difference in giving you those extra possessions and helping you guys pull away and take control early. Is that something that you guys have been focusing on as a team, to crash those boards and get those second chance opportunities?
Yeah, we've been working a lot in practice just to get those extra chance points, because those are really going to come back to help us out in the end of the game. So we've been working on that. We've been working. We might not be the biggest people down there, but we have to play with the biggest hearts. So.
And obviously, you know, a big confidence-boosting win for you guys. Are you going to be able to build off this going forward and kind of, you know, build off this momentum and, you know, keep the wins coming as you progress?
Yeah, we're finishing up our 4-game road trip, which is always tough, 4 games on the road. But this is a big confidence booster, and hopefully we can just soar after this.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a great victory.
Much.
Thanks. From the Wheeler Gymnasium here at the Toll School in Newport, New Hampshire, it's the Stevens Cardinals coming away with an 80-63 victory over rival Newport. That does it for our YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValle Building Supply.